Do you know if Casey has talked to anyone since she's been out of jail on the computer through IM, aside from Dakota? We know that she kind of corresponded with Dakota. Do you know of anyone else that she's corresponded to?
Oh, she hasn't corresponded to me at all. I've blocked her on everything. MySpace, Facebook, AOL Instant Messenger, and she doesn't have my phone number, so she hasn't reached out to me or any of my friends, and I don't know of anybody else. Before I blocked her on AOL Instant Messenger, though, I did see her online on AOL Instant Messenger the day after she got out of jail. So as soon as I saw that, I realized I needed to block her on AOL as soon as possible.
I think we need to mention the deputy and the fact that you went to the academy with him, because you got real emotional about that when I mentioned that before. When did you introduce them?
I introduced Anthony Rusciano to Casey Anthony on during football season 2007. We were at Big Belly Brewery on a Sunday, and I introduced the two of them at that point. Anthony I considered a pretty good friend at the time, and then I found out that Casey kind of had a thing for him. She thought he was cute, but she said nothing would ever happen. And then I found out that they were exchanging text messages and Facebook messages and things of that nature, and it was just getting to the point where I confronted him about it, and he told me there's nothing going on. I'd never do that to one of my friends behind their back.
Now, if there was an accusation made that you and he may have had some involvement in helping her deal with the situation, what would your response to that be?
I would believe it. I believe that Anthony is easily manipulated by Casey. I believe while my connection with Casey was strictly on a emotional /love/ I love Kaylee level, I believe lust-wise he was easily manipulated by her into their sleeping together. And I also know that Anthony Rusciano does lie consistently.
Tell me about those again.
Let's see. Well, he didn't graduate from academy, but told everybody that he did graduate from police academy because he failed firearms. He was stealing money at his workplace. He worked at Chillers in security, and he was pocketing money and got caught and basically got shown the door. And he was also missing work there and telling them that he was working undercover for Orange County, and that's why he was missing work. So those were just a few of the things, and then finding out some of the lies that he had about him and Casey's relationship. I wasn't surprised when I found out that they had been sleeping together. So he has come right out and said, though, that he blames me for everything that's happened. He's told mutual friends of ours that the fact that he got released from the Orange County Sheriff's Office is my fault because I dropped his name out there during an interview. So.
Which is not true.
No. I think one question was asked about Anthony, and I told him that they knew each other and they were friends, and that was the only thing I ever said.
Go back to this email real quick. We mentioned there's two names mentioned in the email, Josh and Melina. And you mentioned Josh and Melina's last name, or Josh and who Melina was. And Josh was Josh Bradshaw, is that correct?
Correct, yes,
that was
sir.
your roommate at the time?
Yeah.
And Melina is Josh's ex.
Yeah.
You gave her a number of 407-766-0155, right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
And Melina used to be Casey's best friend.
Used to be Casey. Why are they no longer?
They were best friends while they were engaged, and then as soon as both of them became unengaged anymore, they went back to being best friends again. And then as soon as one got a boyfriend and the other got a boyfriend, they just kind of parted ways.
Do you think they're still friends now?
They were before this whole thing happened. I don't believe. I've actually spoken to Melina on the phone, and she said Casey hadn't reached out to her. She didn't know what she was going to do if she did. So I told her best bet was just not to talk to her.
You said something in there about maybe this being something to be spiteful towards Mom. This whole thing, maybe Casey being spiteful towards Mom.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about?
Well, I believe she's always had a kind of love-hate relationship with Cindy. I mean, and if you ask my dad or anybody else, when we were together, when we were engaged, she didn't want to be anything like her mom. She wanted to get out of the house as quick as possible. And then suddenly she wanted to be just like her mom, and then she goes back to hating her mom again, and then she loves her mom, and her mom's going to give her the house, and everything's great, and then she hates her mom again. I believe it goes all the way back to when Kaylee was born. When Kaylee was born, Casey wasn't the first one to get to hold Kaylee. It was Cindy. And Casey has even voiced to me in the past that Cindy has actually called herself mommy to Kaylee in front of Casey before.
Repeat that.
Cindy has referred to herself as mommy to Kaylee, even while Casey is there.
And what about the chloroform? You had said something to me about that. Your thoughts on that?
From my personal perspective, and nothing professional.
And knowing her.
Nothing professional about it. She doesn't have a degree in chemistry. The only thing she probably knows about chloroform is what she's seen in the movies. So I can't think of any other reason for there to be chloroform in the car unless she was planning on it. She had or was planning on using it on someone or something.
And this is completely speculative, but if something did occur, where do you think she would have put that child?
My first guess was the house, but again, the house has obviously been searched, so it's not there anymore. She knew that area of town pretty well, but I think she would stay familiar and close to home, so any one of those little parks that's anywhere close to her house. I never went to a park with her and Kaylee before, though, so the only place I ever really went that was secluded for the two of us was her old middle school that we went to, and we had sex together while we were engaged. There was one other place that I actually mentioned. She was familiar with my apartment complex in Arden Villas, and Arden Villas is just all swampland right behind my building. It's just swampland. I think it's a couple acres of swampland. So, being that she was familiar with that area and had been there before, that could have been a place that she could have thought to take Kaylee.
Is it 16 acres? Is that what?
16 acres over there at at Dean and Lake Underhill. You ever hear about that being a party ground, or has she ever mentioned about going to party over there?
No, I've never heard her mention about going to Dean and Lake Underhill.
You ever heard about a place called 16 Acres? It's one of those where, one of those keggers, you pay $5 cover, get in there, and you're able to, just listen to live music, all that. You ever hear that?
I think I've heard it in passing before, but never anything that was...
I've
overheard people talking, but I've never been there before or really looked into it.
Okay.
I'm good.
No, I'm good. Raise your right hand for me. Swear and affirm everything you just told us is truth.
Swear.
Thank you.